Many times I've reflected on my failures and wondered.
What could I have done better?
I doubt your failures are as colossal as mine, but I still think you could learn a thing or two from my failures. This story of my greatest folly begins on Earth 1b, which costs only one chromosome to get to since it is so close to Earth 1a, our home. Earth 1b is just Earth 1a, but 200 years in the future. I would tell you about all the new technologies and medicinal capabilities, but I'm forbidden to. So, just be quiet and listen. Being a part of the coalition is fun at times, but the one part I hate about it is the weight of time travel. When you travel as a part of the coalition, you have to start at the hub of interdimensional travel, Earth 1X. Now, I know what you're thinking.
So Earth, but 4,600 years in the future?
Wrong! The scale increases exponentially. This is Earth, but 838,860,800 years in the future. Yeah, hundreds of millions of years in the future, and there is still a line for transport? When you reach the terminal, there are large silver circles on the ground, 1,500 to be precise, that stretch as far as the eye can see. They range from Earth 1A to Earth 100O. Not all dimensions are travelable for the full alphabet from the development of sentient life. I take a speed train down to Earth 1B and step into the large circle and press a silver crystal into an invisible mechanism, and then immediately on Earth 1B. No flashing lights, no portal to another world behind me, just there. They do this to conserve energy. You'd be majorly surprised how much energy it takes to keep one of these up for 1 second. Earth 1B only has one singular circle hopper and a discrete location, so they don't find out about the technology before their time. Their genius way of hiding it was to hide it in plain sight, so the hub is in New York, New York. I look down at my clock and see that it is high noon, which means that I'm 1 day early for the monthly meeting of the coalition. Just enough time to visit my friends for the day. I take a step outside and forget to transform my black leather duster and sweatpants to something more suitable for the weather, and I'm hit with a massive wave of heat. I immediately put my hand on it and turn it into breathable sportswear. The excess material formed into cool metal bands throughout my clothes. Still mildly sweating, I walk to a boring tunnel entrance and get into a driverless taxi headed for something a little out of town. After about 2 minutes of driving, we get elevated up onto the surface. Surrounding us as far as the eye can see up and down are massive greenhouses. The artificial sunlights beam through the semi-transparent walls of the building. The taxi stops at one of the zipped up flaps of the walls, and I grab a gas mask that is right outside the entrance. The inside of the building is very noxious and full of fumes. It's not deadly on contact, but it can deteriorate your lungs over time. Though, a small stench of manure still wafts through the mask. Scurrying across the ground are multiple small robots, with large bars sticking out at the top of them, so that they can reach the tops of the nearly 8-foot tall trees. Normally, these trees could grow upwards of 30 feet, but after some modification, they now look closer to large bushes than trees. The ceilings are 15 feet high and have radiant yellow lights and columns over the trees that stretch for miles. I continue to cross across the expansive apple orchard for about a mile until I can see the flap on the other side. Once I cross the threshold, I take off my gas mask and place it in the automated cleaning bin. I look up and see the sun has dipped a bit, just enough to make the more natural apple orchard in front of me look magnificent. I walk about 100 feet until I come upon a 2-story farmhouse. Or should I say, family house. I walk up to the door and call my name. Kane! The door opens, and 2 people are standing within the frame of the doorway. One, around 6'5", sharp, handsome looks, stylish blonde hair, and blazing blue eyes. Adam. His counterpart, closer to my height of 6 feet, has fiery red hair, soft, homely features, and hard crystal eyes. I walk into the well-ventilated home and let out an audible sigh. So, how's it been, Adam? I ask.
Nothing but the rant.
He replies with a knockout grin, closing the door behind me. You guys come to the meeting tomorrow? Or the more refined one at Earth 1A? I ask, while giving them a hug, having to get on my tippy toes for Adam.
You know, I've been thinking about not going to any of those anymore. I've been thinking about settling down on the farm with Sophia.
Adam replies, somberly, hugging Sophia closer. Sophia gives him a nervous but happy smile. Before I could reply, though, a sound so loud and piercing that blood starts dribbling out of my ears resonates throughout New York. The ground jolted so hard that us, along with everything else in the house, took a face-first tumble. I look down at my wristwatch and zoom into a massive energy signature, emitting massive amounts of gamma radiation and thermal energy. The energy coming directly from where the circle hopper is.
What is this?
Adam cries in alarm. The circle hopper. Someone must have disrupted the energy system within. But the safety feature should have kicked in to stop it cold! It's foolproof! They get the energy from Universe 99Z, and the portal is just supposed to shut down when there's even a little bit too much energy in the system. I say, all the while grabbing their arms and rushing them out of the house. Sophia comes to her senses after we exit the house, and grabs our arms and takes us on a hard right.
Obviously, there's enough foolproof if this is happening.
Sophia yells through labored breaths, her southern twang still very evident.
If the circle hopper's safety features gave out completely, it would have already blown us up along with the whole planet. So something is holding it back.
We round a corner to a barn the size of some large office buildings back on home planet. We approach the greenish, bulletproof doors, and Adam quickly types in the code to get in, though, with how panicked he was, he messed it up 3 times before succeeding.
If I had to guess, the neutron bar's gravitational pull is keeping the energy in check for now, but I don't know how long to hold out.
Sophia says, before letting go of our hands and gesturing to a basement cellar. We grab a hold of the metal handles and grunt with the effort of moving the 100-plus pound doors. Inside is a wooden staircase that goes down around 200 steps and is lit by soft green lights. The walls are made of some type of mirror and cause me to get dizzy. While we are flying down the stairs, I pant. What's down here?
We have a ship just in case if something like this happens. It flies directly into Mars.
Adam says in a defeated tone. I catch a side glance at Sophia.
Okay, well let's get the hell out of here then. It's gonna be a tight fit through, and we'll have to use the rations sparsely.
Sophia yells over the ruckus of all the lights and fans coming on at once. The once stagnant air smelling strongly of oil and fuel. Sophia runs over to the control panel, typing in codes and sequences faster than I can think. Always a tech genius that one was. Adam and I walk over to the massive vessel and start up the stairs to the cockpit, the stairs wailing in protest over the heavy steps of both of our bodies. Just as we make it to the cockpit, the ceiling above us opens up into bright white light above. The light slightly touches my arm and leaves a burn mark. I wince in pain, and open the cockpit door and jump inside. Adam grabs a crowbar and walks to the door to fix something. At least, that's what I thought at the time.
You're the bestest friend I could ask for. You know that?
Adam says out of the blue, while twirling the crowbar in his one hand. Thanks, man. I feel the same way. I say, a little flabbergasted and confused. Sophia reaches the cockpit panting and grunting all the while. She gets into the pilot car and initiates the AI piloting system to go for the gravity slingshot. But a huge explosion from the circle hopper, and looking back tells us Earth 1B just doesn't have enough time for us to do that. After that explosion, my watch starts to squeal and beep.
Emergency! Emergency! Evacuate the planet immediately! Dead explosion imminent!
A 2-minute timer appears above the broadcast. I turn the sound off and take a look around the cramped cabin for the first time. There isn't enough room for 2 people here! I think out loud.
Of course there is! It's gonna be risky, but I'm sure we can all get out of here!
Sophia yells in a half-panicked voice, her eyes wide.
This ship is only meant for 2 people, and you know it, Sophia!
Adam says, a tear flowing from his beautiful blue eyes.
No, Adam!
Sophia screams, jumping out of her seat, but she is too late. Adam slams the door and breaks the door opening mechanism with a crowbar.
Bye, my love.
Adam says in an accepting voice. He turns and runs down the stairs, reaching the control panel and pressing the force launch button. I slam Sophia, still screaming for him, into her seat and get us both locked down. We reach Mars 2 months later.